I don't know about you, but this past year has taught me a lot. And when I sat down to look at the lessons that I've learned, there were 3 big ones that stood out that I fully intend to bring with me into the new year. I can hardly believe it. We are on our second to last episode of 2020. How did this happen? I know so many people are ready to say goodbye to this year, but if you haven't done this yet, here is something I would encourage you to do. This inspired this episode that I'm going to share with you today, is to sit down and find something that you are grateful for, within 2020. Really end the year by acknowledging, yes, there were a ton of challenges. I know they looked so different for each and every one of us, but there were a lot of challenges. And if we look for it, I think we can always find the gratitude and we can find the lessons. And when I looked back at my year, there were 3 big things that stood out. And when I was getting present to just the gratitude I have for the way that this year unfolded and the blessings that it unintentionally brought into my life and my business, I realized I'm going to take all 3 of these lessons into the next year as well. And so I can't wait to hear if you take this on and you do this exercise. Just share it with me if you think to do that. You can text it to our text girl gang and I'll see it there, or you can post it on social media and tag me. But if you do your 2020 gratitude practice, and I want to hear your lessons, I'm going to share with you my 3 biggest lessons. And I think you'll get something out of these too. But if you do this exercise, share yours with me too. So the biggest one, number 1, I wouldn't even say it's the biggest one. I think I just went there because it's number 1. These are in no particular order. One of my favorite lessons from 2020 is to be a little unrealistic. And I've talked about this on a previous episode. You can go back and find it. But the value of setting unrealistic goals. And it sounds funny to do, especially in a year where there was a lot more change, a lot more uncertainty. I think everything just felt so rocky that I think every goal felt unrealistic. But what I really learned, I think I got this in a whole new way this year in 2020, is the value of setting goals that feel a little bit out of reach. I, just like so many people, I am a little bit of a control freak, a little bit of a perfectionist. It's a dangerous combination when you're out to grow, because if you only set goals that you totally 100% without a shadow of a doubt know you can reach, you really don't have the opportunity to grow and to learn new things. So by setting goals that are a little bit unrealistic, it really leaves room for magic. And like I said, you can go back and listen to the whole episode I recorded on this, but that's for sure one lesson that I am taking with me into the new year. In fact, it's completely, it's exactly how I'm looking at the goals that I'm setting for myself and my business through that lens of, okay, is this a goal that feels safe, or does it feel a little bit out of reach? Does it feel a little bit unrealistic? Because the goals that feel that way are also the goals that are going to force you to grow in the process. They're going to force you to show up as, the next level version of yourself. And they're probably also going to force you to allow help and have to ask for help in a whole new way. Some of you are tuning out right as I said that, because, asking for help doesn't always feel like the easiest thing. But I really liked who I got to become in this process of setting unrealistic goals this year. And the best example was with our virtual event. And I share this story on the podcast. I'll give you the other podcast. I'll give you the short version of it, that we had set this goal of having 1,000 women tune in to the virtual event. And, it ended up that we sold a little bit under 500 tickets. And I got so much out of playing for that unrealistic goal, for that number of 1,000 people tuning in, that I almost wasn't even attached to the outcome at the end of the day. And I'll leave, if you haven't gone and listened to that episode, I'll leave the ending as a surprise and make you go listen to it, because that was a good one. And you'll just have to see what actually happened when it came to that day. But it was a huge lesson for me in who I get to become in the process of working toward those goals that feel a little bit unrealistic. So I'm totally taking that with me into 2021. The second one is I redefined what community feels like and what it really means to me. For those of us that have event or community-based businesses, this year has been extremely challenging on so many different types of businesses, but we've really had to reimagine what community looks like. We weren't able to gather together in person this year for the Powerhouse Women event. And had you told me that I would feel the exact same connection, the exact same support, and just the magic of what we experience when we're together in that room through a virtual event or through a Zoom call series, I never would have believed it. But it showed me that community is so much more. It's almost like, I guess this is an appropriate reference given that we just had Christmas, like the Grinch stole Christmas. The whole point is, there's more to Christmas than what you see on the outside. And I think that's the lesson that I got out of having to reimagine community in our business this year, is that, it can look different ways, but if the intention behind community is what you are committed to and having people feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, you can create that atmosphere almost anywhere. And I'm really, really proud. I'm so proud to know all of you. I'm so proud to be in a community with all of you, because the reason that the magic of Powerhouse Women, the collaboration, the support, the reason that I think that feeling of community is alive and well, even more than it ever has been, is because of all of you and the way you show up for yourselves, for one another. And you really taught me a big lesson this year, that community is so much more than when we're just together face to face. Although I will say, I cannot wait to hug each and every one of you as soon as humanly possible. I am definitely low on my hug quotient. So, for 2021, we don't know. We don't know what the future holds for live events, for being able to gather in person. But I'm going into 2021 with a renewed sense of hope and excitement that whatever we create, whatever we reimagine in terms of community is going to be special, even if it doesn't look like we thought it was supposed to. So for you, look for your own life. How has community looked different, but actually shown you something newer and deeper about the people that you're surrounded with this year? That's one of the biggest lessons for sure, and I'm totally taking that one with me too. Okay, and the third one, this is a theme that we talk about all the time, but 2020 really showed me the importance of mentorship. The importance of having guidance from someone who I can borrow their certainty when I'm feeling a little bit uncertain, or having a community of people around me. Sometimes mentorship comes from the people around us who are keeping me focused on what is possible. And I've talked a little bit in our community about how I think for 2021, we're probably going to be faced with just as many challenges, if not more. But the difference is now we know to plan for those things. Now we know to plan for the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. And having a mentor, having someone who can give you an outside perspective on your business, having a community of people around you to cheer you on is going to be critical. I cannot say this enough. Get yourself in a community where you have both mentorship and the support of the people around you. Because I think those that intentionally put themselves in places like that are going to thrive. And yes, I do mean like fully thrive, live your best life despite the challenges that may be ahead of us in the next year. So for 2021, I typically do at least one, investment in myself, join a mastermind, get a mentor. I'm actually doing 2. I'm doubling down this year. I'm doing one that's more like a personal growth kind of mentorship. I'm doing one that's more business and actually like marriage, relationship type mentorship. And I knew that I was going to need extra support. So for me, I'm taking that lesson of just the importance of mentorship during uncertain times, and I'm like going all in. I'm making sure that I have like I think of it like my superhero. If I had a superhero squad, I'm like assembling my team of superheroes that are going to have my back this year. And, there's a couple of, if you're brand new here, there are a couple of opportunities, even just within our community, that I want to make sure to mention here. As you're planning for 2021, if one of these resonates, we do have a few opportunities that can help support you, that can create this environment of mentorship and support and accountability. So in the spring, we'll be opening our next round of our signature 6-figure school course, which is the perfect place for anyone who has the tiny seed of an idea all the way up to an idea that you're already monetizing. Maybe you're making anywhere from like $50,000 to $100,000. It's really kind of geared toward those of you that are in the early stages of entrepreneurship and you're looking for a step-by-step plan to help you get your idea off the ground or even clarify your idea and your impact, monetize it, and then grow that income to $100,000 or more. So that is our 6-figure school program. It's going to be opening in spring, so stay tuned and get ready. And then for those of you that are at a little bit higher level, you're really looking to scale, and you know that you can no longer continue to grow at the pace you're growing if you continue trying to do it all by yourself, or you know that you just need some higher level strategy. You need accountability like none other in order to bust through where you normally would stop yourself. And that is our mastermind. That's the place where we create that high level of accountability, support, strategy. And it's a really intimate group of women. We're only taking 15 women this year. Depending on when you hear this, we may actually be full, but I'm going to mention it now just in case we have a spot or 2 open. And this is a place where you get one-on-one strategy with me every single month. You get an intimate retreat in the fall where you get to connect and go deeper and really connect with other like-minded women. And then you get tailored strategy and guest mentorship from people who are experts in areas that you probably want to grow in. So we curate the entire experience to the members who are in the group. We cover all different business topics, and it's all super tangible and tactical, all while pushing you and seeing you, inviting you to step into your highest self at the same time. This group in particular is transformational. Hands down. We saw women triple their businesses, yes, in the middle of COVID this year. We saw women who came in with a goal to launch their new business and see a certain number of new clients and doubled that. So these are the kind of results that is absolutely possible when you put yourself in that kind of position. So what I'll do is I will include links to the mastermind where you can see the information for that. It'll say on that page if we're full or not, or if we're still accepting applications. And then I'll also include the number to text if you just want to be on our free mentorship text list, because we do have this free resource. Obviously, we have the podcast, but we also have a text mentorship where I send out a business or a mindset tip twice a week in order to keep encouraging you and reminding you that you're not meant to do business or life alone. So those are my 3 lessons for the year. The lessons that I am committed to taking with me into the new year. And I really would love to hear yours. So you can either share them with me on social media, you can text me on the same number linked below in the show notes for the text mentorship. I really do read all of those messages and I reply to every single one if I'm able to. So I would love to hear from you, and I really just encourage you, sit down, take some time before the end of this year, find the gratitude in it, find the lessons in it, even if it feels hard. Acknowledge the person that you became this year. Because if in my experience, I actually become the strongest, most resilient version of myself, not when things are going well, but when I'm faced with challenges. And I'm sure that's been the case for you as well. So, this is our second to last episode of 2020, but I don't want to end this year without reminding you just how grateful we are, just how grateful I am for every single one of you and the impact you make on my life and on this community. And I have a feeling, this is just my prediction, I have a feeling that 2021 has some epic things in store for all of us. So stay connected and stay tuned.